Hello and welcome back to our channel, Bodybuilding Olympians. We are back with much previously undiscovered information about your favorite bodybuilders. Today, we'll talk about the former IFBB competitive bodybuilder from America, Lee Haney. Haney is acknowledged as one of the greatest bodybuilders ever to grace the stage and shares the mark for the most Mr. Olympia titles with Ronnie Coleman at 8. However, these are well-known truths. What you may not have been aware of is his addictions. Yes, Lee Haney has spoken out about a steroid obstacle, and we will now talk about it. Many people think that bodybuilders use steroids to keep their muscles and physical appearance in form. Lee Haney, however, asserts that all bodybuilding champions possess unique genetic traits. Even though it may seem unbelievable, Lee Haney was the first person to surpass Arnold Schwarzenegger's mark for the most Mr. Olympia victories, despite the myth that all professional bodybuilders use steroids to gain an advantage. One of the few athletes believed to be entirely natural is Lee Haney. Consequently, let's dig deep and discover what the legend himself has to say about the ever-famous steroid use and whether the claims that he never used steroids are accurate. Setting new records. The fact that Arnold won Olympia 6 times in a row and added a 7th title in the hotly contested 1980 competition made breaking his mark a real accomplishment. From 1984 to 1991, Lee Haney won it 8 years in a run. Surprisingly, Ronnie Coleman became just the second person in history to capture 8 straight Mr. Olympia titles in October 2005, tying Haney's record. Who is this person who even turned on Arnold Schwarzenegger? Let's know more about Lee Haney's early life. You might be asking why we need to look into Lee Haney's life, but in order to determine whether his body is steroid-based or genetic, we need to know about his early years and professional background. Lee Haney's early years and professional life. On November 11, 1959, Haney was born in Fairburn in Georgia. His character and profession was shaped by his upbringing as devoted Christian and Methodist. Spartanburg Methodist College was where Lee studied. At the 1983 World Competitive Championship in Atlantic City, he made his competitive bodybuilding debut. We are all aware of the fact that he won 8 straight Mr. Olympia titles, dominating the entire bodybuilding competition. His weight increased from 232 to 265 pounds over the course of his tenure, and his height during the competitive years was 5 feet 10 inches. Similar physiques were shared among other athletes like Franco Columbu, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Frank Zane. In addition, this occurred long before legendary bodybuilders like Ronnie Coleman, Big Ramy, Phil Heath, and Jay Cutler took the stage. These men were large throughout, even in their calves. He had made a name for himself as one of America's best professional bodybuilders by 1984. Haney, who stands 5 feet and 10 inches tall and weighs 230 pounds, was enormous and muscular. Still, his enormous upper body, which also featured enormous limbs and thighs, was more of a focal point than his calves. But over the following few years, Lee would establish himself as a symbol of bodybuilding. After capturing the 1991 Mr. Olympia, Lee Haney ended his career in bodybuilding. The first of the enormous bodybuilders to earn the Mr. Olympia title in 1992 was Dorian Yates. Many people think that Lee Haney's departure shifted the focus of bodybuilders from the old school to the new school. Lee had roles in a number of films, including Weekend Warriors, Pumping Iron 2, The Women, and Just for Kicks. The Chicago Golds team that Haney built in 1989 served as the backdrop for the movie Pumping Iron 2, The Women. In addition, he's the author of 3 books, Stretching Your Boundaries, 8 Minutes in the Morning, and Lee Haney's Bodybuilding for Men. Be a bench presser, not a bench warmer. Join the Bodybuilding Olympians today and let us support you in realizing your maximum potential. We've got you covered from pecs to glutes, so hit that subscribe button and let's get swole if you want to join the muscle building craze. You can now see how inspiring, resilient, and controlled Haney's life was. Do you really believe that after learning about his profession, he would become addicted to steroids? This will become clear when we observe his bodybuilding mindset. Haney approached bodybuilding differently than Arnold because he never saw it as a route of recognition. He had nothing to accomplish nor surmount. Lee, therefore, just continued getting better and enjoyed the physical changes it made to his body. As a result, it was quickly clear that he had exceptional potential. In Lee Haney's training philosophy, heavy weights and masses of volume were the norms. In reality, he used the pre-exhaust method of training, in which he would work out a muscle thoroughly before hitting it hard with compound movements and heavier weights. For instance, he would begin a leg workout with 5 sets of leg extensions and 5 sets of leg curls, each group consisting of up to 15 repetitions. Then, using just 225 pounds, he would perform 6 to 8 repetitions of lunges. The previous pump sets made these 225 pounds feel more like 350 pounds, even though it was much less weight than he could usually handle. Lee could then put his muscles under stress without using all of his pounds, which was undoubtedly beneficial for his joints. The big issue, which has been the subject of much speculation over the years, is whether Haney used steroids at any point in his professional career. Some people think that his big stature and ripped physique are indicators that he used steroids. Although Haney has never publicly admitted to using steroids, there is evidence that he may have done so at some time during his career, despite the claims that others think that he was just a natural athlete. Let's first examine the grounds for believing he is entirely normal though. The explanation is straightforward. Throughout his career, he passed all of his drug tests. He always insisted that he's natural and has never spoken about using drugs. Lee Haney is one of the most idolized bodybuilders among young people, and many of his close acquaintances and family members have confirmed that he has never used steroids. Despite the fact that steroids were widely used in the sport in the 1980s, he reportedly refused to use them. He wasn't opposed to supplement training though, as Lee Haney allegedly produced his own fuel prior to the competition. More than any other athlete, the well-known one used creatine and glutamine. But keep in mind that many novice weightlifters and bodybuilders still use creatine and glutamine, which are not regarded as steroids. Lee Haney also stated, "Gladiators are naturally born. Steroids can make a gladiator." The hypothetical steroid cycle. Probably because he's a devout Christian and wishes to always present himself in the positive and wholesome light, Haney never mentioned using drugs. But the steroid landscape was radically altering in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Steroid use increased on the underground market as a result of their legislation. Consequently, none of the users of steroids ever truly understood what they were receiving. Unfortunately, there were no generic businesses or overseas pharmacies on the internet, and as a result, it was mainly whatever a man at the gym had or what was offered through a sketchy classified AD. Therefore, it was not shocking that at least 50% of sales were fakes and that many bodybuilders got abscesses from using non-sterile equipment. What's startling is that bodybuilders have contracted diseases from corpses because HGH was extracted from human cadavers. Even supplement companies were attempting to sell a variety of fake mixtures that they claimed to function similarly to steroids. It wasn't very attractive, and access to whatever roids one could get was pretty much open to all. In reality, dosages began to rise during this period as well. Therefore, it makes sense to presume that Haney was using some steroids in order to keep up with what the opposition was doing. Despite the reality that many new designer drugs were still developing, the most popular combination among bodybuilders was still the DECA Durobolin and D-Bol. However, it should be noted that Haney never exhibited gynecomastia symptoms. Fans continue to adamantly assert that he never used steroids, as so many professionals did before using anti-estrogens. As a result, everything above is merely conjecture. It's difficult to contest Haney's legendary standing in the fitness industry. However, due to his aversion to self-promotion and low-key approach to positioning himself as a celebrity athlete, he is still largely unknown in popular culture. After bodybuilding, Lee Haney was very busy, but most of his work was done quietly in the background. Lee shows us that deeds are more powerful than speech. Just do it. There's no need to discuss it. Lee Haney also reminds us that achieving our objectives does not require cutting corners or sacrificing our morals. When working out and building muscle, consuming the right quantities of protein, healthy carbohydrates, and fats is important. The larger truth about Lee Haney's use of steroids during his career will likely remain a mystery for some time, but it is possible that Haney was truly a natural athlete. This movie ends there. Here we come to an end, but before you exit the video, punch hard on that subscribe button. Thank you for watching.